Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rich. I am getting ready to install my vanity faucet. The item that I'm going to be installing is a Kingston Brass faucet and fixture. I have used them in the past and I'm very pleased with the quality of product that Kingston Brass puts out. They are very durable and they're very solidly constructed. They're not paying me to say that. I just find them to be a really good bang for your buck if you're looking for a higher end type of fixture that you will definitely be pleased with. So here's the knobs that you can actually kind of get an idea of what the fixture is going to look like by the kind of faucet. So here is the hot. So it's a very vintage look to it, and it has the hot writing on there. It's just a really solidly made piece. It's very heavy. It's probably, I would say this is probably at least a pound because it's solidly made brass. And then it has all the hardware that comes with it. And then it gives you the stainless steel flexible lines to make the connections. Cold side and hot side. Valve bodies, and these are solid brass. They're very heavy. This is probably 3 or 4 pounds, just this piece right here. And see how they come, it comes nicely packaged and they protect all their materials, and then it's inside of a bag. So here is the faucet itself, and then you're going to have these 2 individual pieces on the side. So really nice piece, really pleased with the look and the finish of it. The other item that we have is the drain, and it is a solid brass item as well. So really quality pieces. I'll put the description of the actual item number of this piece in the description below, so that you can take a look, and also Kingston Brass's website. And some of the other items that you're going to need to get this installed are you're going to need some Teflon tape, a few connection hoses to make your connections from your shutoff valves to the actual valves themselves. And I usually I did the measurements, and this is like 7 inches, and they don't make lines that are 7 inches. You can custom make some hard lines if you'd like, but I found just to get the 16-inch long ones, and then just do a loop so that you can make that turn. Because if you try to do the short one and try to make a bend and do this kind of number with a short line, it just gets really kinked up and it's hard to make that connection. You're going to need some clear silicone, crescent wrench, a couple of different size channel locks. Because I'm working from the backside and not necessarily working on an existing vanity, I won't really need to have a plumber's wrench, because I can actually access it pretty well from back here. But if you have one, yeah, you can certainly use that. I'll need a reducer from a 2-inch drain to a 1.5, because that's what my drain, my P-trap is a 1.5. So I needed a connection for that. And then I'll also need a seal for a 1.5 to 1.25, because this drain is a 1.25 inch size. You're also going to need some glue, depending on your situation. If you've already got your compression fitting attached, you may not need it. I'm going to go ahead and put the drain in first. The instructions say to do the actual faucet first, but it's going to be in my way, so I'd rather do this one first, and it's not really going to make a difference. It's just easier to access now. Lower this all the way down, this nut, all the way down to the bottom. And we want to go ahead and unscrew this piece here, and then we're going to unscrew. Take this drain stopper out, and then we're going to unscrew the flange from the actual brass body itself. I took this apart because you want to put some Teflon tape on these threads right here and then reattach it so that it doesn't have any leaks in the future. So we're going to take the Teflon tape and we're going to run it around a couple of times. And this is not going to be under pressure because it's not the pressure side of the line, it's just the drain, but you still want to make sure that it's watertight. You don't want to have any leaks. So we're just going to go ahead and thread this into place with that Teflon tape. Now we've got that nut all the way down, and when we're going to push these rubber O-rings all the way down, we give ourselves enough thread to be able to put this up underneath and thread this flange back into place. So you want to take the bottom side of the flange and you want to start squeezing out some silicone. I bet this is probably tight now. I'm gonna have to. Okay, so we got the silicone all around. You can be really generous with it because even if it squeezes out, you're just going to wipe the excess off. So we're just going to put a lot all the way around. Now you're going to want to take this drain body and you take it up from underneath and then meet in the middle, and then you want to thread this thing into place. And then we'll go ahead and tighten this nut up against the bottom so that it squeezes this flange to the sink base itself. So rather than spinning the flange right now because it's got the silicone on it, I'm spinning the bottom, but I know that I need to keep it. I need to put that pivot point towards the back of the vanity once it gets tight. So once it gets tight, I'm going to have to spin it eventually, but we'll just keep. Okay, so we just want to take a wrench, put it on that nut, hold the strain body, and just start tightening this up so that you squeeze this rubber seal against the base. I don't want to tighten it too tight because you'll crack that porcelain. So I'm just going to wipe this off. It's a lot of extra, but that's okay. We'll just clean it off. And it'll come clean. So now that we got this all taken care of, we can take the stopper and put it back into place. But when you put it back in place, you want to make sure that the hole is open towards the back so that you can run your pivot metal piece through that hole. So the next thing that we need to do is to remove this T fitting and remove the nut and the washer. So they give you this little bezel once you take the washer and the nut off, because you want to put the bezel on like this, and that keeps it kind of centered. And they want you to put silicone around this bezel to mate it to the vanity top. But I'm going to put some silicone around here as well as the bottom of this to make sure that no water gets in behind that area and this area. So it doesn't really say that specifically in the instructions, but I definitely want to have some sandwiched in between here and then also between here and that marble top. But before we put the silicone on, I want to add some Teflon tape to this as well, because while there is an O-ring in this, I want to make sure that it's just an extra safety precaution that they ask you to do, and I think it's good practice to put it on all of your fittings, just because you don't want to have any leaks later. We're just going to put a little bit of silicone around this. Not a lot, because if not, it's just going to squeeze all out anyway. I just want a small little bead on there. Give it a little spin. And then put a little bit. So we're going to mount this, and then we're going to put this washer into place. And this little U channel goes towards the back of the vanity, because this is the hole for the stopper stem to go down through there, and that little U channel gives you the space that you need for that rod to go down through. And then you put the nut in place, and then we thread this T shape back on afterwards. Just put that nut on there. Now we're starting to get tight, so we can make sure that that's back there. So now I can take a 15/16 socket and tighten it down. And as I tighten it down, you want to make sure that the faucet itself is square and perpendicular to the sink itself. Now, we got to put this T back on. But before we put the T back on, I'm going to put some tape, Teflon tape around all these male ends. Just put a little bit of Teflon tape all the way around it on both sides. And then make sure you put the O-ring that it comes with in the base there, and then screw it up into place. Alright. Okay, so now that we've got the faucet complete, we can go ahead and start assembling the hot and cold valve stems and place those into the vanity. Now they give you a rubber washer, a regular washer, and a nut to be able to tighten to the base of the vanity. And then they give you another nut and a rubber washer to go over top and basically sandwich the stem together in place. They give you all this threaded area so that you can adjust the height of it, so that when you slide this up into place and you tighten this down, this is sticking up high enough to where this little bezel will come down over top, and you can thread it, and it actually tightens itself to the top deck of the vanity. But you don't want it too tall, because you don't want it sticking out too far. So you want to have the stem to be the appropriate height. So it says 2 1/8, but depending on the height of this bezel, you want to have it tightened down to the top of the deck, threaded down, but you want to give yourself enough gaps when you set this down over top of the stem that you get a gap of about a 1/16 of an inch right there, maybe an 1/8, but no more than that. So that's what you're trying to go for. So now that we've got it set, you can unscrew this. And I can take a measurement so that I know what to make the hot side. So the distance from the rubber gasket to the top of the stem is 3.5 inches. So we can mimic that on this one when we do that side. So before I go ahead and put this into place and tighten it, I'm going to go ahead and hit all the threads with some Teflon tape. And I think before I do it, I'm going to go ahead and put these on there because it's not going to move around, so I'm going to go ahead and screw this one on. Now it's just a matter of repeating the process for the other side. So now that I got these tightened down, it's a matter of just taking these hoses and making the connections. So this hot one goes up, does a loop, and you connect it to this side. So now that I got these hand tightened, it's just a matter of tightening them up with a wrench and snugging them down. So either use the crescent wrench or the channel locks. Okay, so the next step in the process is to go ahead and attach the hoses that will go to your shutoff valves. These feed lines that need to go to each valve stem. The hot side. Make sure that they're snug. So we need to just go ahead and add the rod down through the top of the faucet, and this comes down right here, and we just need to attach it to the actual stopper itself. So you pull out this piece and you take this rod and fish it into the hole where the actual stopper is, and you want to fish it through there. So that you know that it's connected. And then you take this little metal strap off and then fish this. Make sure the nylon washer is facing kind of the cupped side in so that it cups this nylon ball. Just thread that back into place. Tight enough so that there's movement, but not too tight that it's going to be so hard to move this up and down. And then what we do is you put this metal strap on and then put this in place. So we want to find just the sweet spot of where we want this rod to go in. We want to loosen this wing nut so that the rod can go through the two holes. Slide it up in there. attach it. And then we can tighten it back up. Let's see how that works. Yeah, that's not touching anything. That's good. Okay, so I got the P-trap that we're going to be using, and I'm kind of putting this in place and mocking it up. And what I noticed was that the length of this strap, this extension strap, is going to pose a problem because it's going to hit the P-trap pipe. So what I'm going to need to do is actually cut this down. So I need to cut it off right after where I connect it up. So I'm going to take it outside and cut it off to make that fit. Okay, so I'm back. I was able to cut the end of this off, and so now, and I was also able to cut the end of this off. So when I put this up there, it's not going to be in the way, and it has good movement and won't touch. So first we go ahead and put that in place, and then put in this nylon washer to kind of seal it, and then put this into place. Now we can tighten this one up. So the next step is to go ahead and loop this around and connect it up. So, moment of truth, but before we turn the water on, let's go ahead and take the aerator out, filters, so that they don't get clogged up with the initial opening of the water, because I've never turned this water on before, so there could be some slag from soldering and things like that just want to flush out. Turn the water on in. Woo. Pretty filthy. Turn the hot on. I'm not feeling any wetness under there, so that's a good thing. So there you have it. That's installed. Well, the last thing I need to do is just put a couple of screws, 3 or 4 screws into the studs through the vanity, so that this is secured to the wall and not going to move around. But for the purposes of this video, I think we can call this complete. So if you liked it, please hit the like button or subscribe to my channel for any other video updates that I might be doing. Until next time, okay folks, I will talk to you soon.